These tomatoes, I'm not going to grow this variety in this bed again because they've gone down to here and they're up at the other end. I'm trying not to touch it because I don't want to touch this and then touch the ones in the greenhouse. But it looks like it's got a touch of blight on it, so it's not been a success, this Perlgarten. It's done alright, but with the bad weather we had, all the early tomatoes burst and then the later tomatoes are okay, but now it's got blight. And this Privet is going to get a really severe prune back like it's got up here, because this is all useful space here. And that celery went to seed, so I've let it just dry out and die off. But you can see the difference go from there to all this mess. I'm washing all the pots and things that I've used and brought in. They're just soaking to get the muck off, and then I'll clean them and rinse them and then just dry them in the greenhouse. So all the pots and modules and things are dry enough in here. I would like to plant these in, but we've got 25 degrees plus temperatures every day, so I daren't put them in because they'll just die. So just waiting for the temperatures to ease down a little bit and then these can go in. But the greenhouse is doing fine. Still got lots of tomatoes, peppers, even cucumbers. Yeah, it's doing alright in here. These gherkins have done alright. I mean, put some dill around it. Yeah, still got the odd one, but they're really finished, so I'll take them out. But they did alright. I've got quite a few gherkins off these. You're still getting strawberries. This one's not really good. No. Strawberries. If you think I'll leave it for another day, it'll be ripe and ready, come back and the slugs have had it. So I'll have that. And the seed heads from the lettuces are ready, so if I take one out just to show you. They're ready. So I'll cut these and let them dry inside because the weather's turning a bit nasty. Those beetroot leaves are still going, and the nasturtiums eventually got going, but I think it's lost a lot fight with the bindweed. The bindweed has got everywhere. So I'm going to take those out. I'll take these out, and this is going to be the garlic bed. I'll leave it till I put the garlic in, but this bed can be sorted. This bed that was landcress is gone to seed, so I need to plant into it. But you can see all this is coming from the other side. This is a loganberry, but that's a bramble. Lots of brambles, lots of bindweed, rubbish coming in from the other side, nettles, all sorts coming in from the other side. So I wish they'd get their act together, and you can see it's a right mess on that side. This bath, that was a mixture of chard and kale. The kale didn't do quite as well as the nettles, and one or two of the chard has gone to seed, but the rest is fine. So I've got a nice little supply of chard to go through the winter. Obviously they'll go to seed in the spring, but that's alright. We've got a little touch of beet leaf miner, but that's okay because we're going into autumn now. Quick little bit of weeding and this will be fine. So I'll just put a net back on top. And finally, the Physalis is starting to produce. We're in middle of September and it's finally producing, but it's getting overrun by bindweed. And I better take these off because it's starting to flower, this thing. Not a huge crop from all this, so I don't think I'm going to bother with it again because the amount of space it takes up and what it produces is very little. And most of that the wildlife gets before I do, so a few little fruits like this from a 3-metre bed is not worth the effort. This is all cleared. There wasn't much on the ground because obviously all the stuff at the top shaded it out, which was more than all this stuff that I've had to clear twice, and there's still weeds coming through. Down here there was nothing. Well, I say nothing, there was a bit but not much. And I've cleared the bindweed off these raspberries, but the raspberries are going anyways. I've got to take out these blighted tomatoes, but I'm going to do that last thing before I go home, so I don't touch anything else. But the job today is to sort out this sweetcorn bed and sort out this cage around it, because obviously there's a lot of weeds, but this was sort of like, I deliberately left it wobbly so badgers couldn't climb it, but I think if it's going to be here permanently, I'm going to make a proper job of it now. Well, I've picked a good crop of Physalis for a change. Normally I don't get this much, but even so, there's quite a lot of plants and a lot of space for this. I'll probably get the odd few here and there, so this is about half the harvest I'll get from those plants, so it's not a lot. No wonder they charge so much and they give you one on top of your desserts in posh restaurants, because it takes up a lot of space. The other day it got dark by the time I cleared this bed, so I didn't record what I'd done, and then it's been raining and other things, so I haven't been back. I cleared the tomatoes out of this bed, and I've got this monster here. Put my hand by it, so it's quite a monster. So that's the monster marrow, and this courgette has just about had it. It's got a couple of little ones on it, but it's done. And I'm going to take out these other marigolds, so I've got this whole area for planting. And of course I start recording and a helicopter turns up. These other courgettes are still producing, so I'm leaving them for a bit longer, but they are coming to the end. But then, you know, it's last week of September, so that's not surprising. The parsley has done well behind these courgettes this year, so I'm going to clear this bed and it'll be ready for planting. These strawberries are still going, producing runners and still producing flowers, which the slugs are eating. And the greenhouse is still going gangbusters. These flowers aren't going to come too much now. It's the last week of September, so they're not going to produce fruit, so I'll cut these off so that it puts all its energy into these little ones left. But yeah, I've been pleased with the aubergines this year, and the tomatoes. I can't keep up with them. I'm giving them to the neighbours and dogs, cats, everybody, and it's still coming. But you can see how much there is still on it. And still got masses of trusses on it. So if we get a favour all winter, we might be getting tomatoes up to November. The peppers have done well, but they're finishing off as well. They're now little ones. I'm going to take off all the flowers and make sure it puts all its energy into these little ones. See if we can get a few more big peppers out of it. Chilies still going like crazy. Basil is going well, so I've got no complaints. Cucumbers are still going, flowering. The beetroot I put in the other day is coming along fine. This is the bath of beetroot that I put in earlier, and I'm just harvesting. Some have come out small, some have come bigger, and it's a good size one. It's a good size one, like compared to my fist. But some of them didn't do much. Oh, they're small. So I'm going to take all this lot out. I might be eating beetroot soup for a few days, and then this lot will go through, and should be able to pick these in the spring. I might throw some polythene over it just to give it a bit more protection over the winter, and it should give me a decent crop early in the spring. These radishes that I put in the other week are doing fine, so I think they'll be fine, considering that they've got all this rubbish the other side of the fence. I'm surprised they've done anything. And the chard is doing great. Some leaves are obviously a little bit eaten by the leaf miner. I'll cut these out and get rid of them. But I've interplanted some kale in here, and that's the only one that's survived, apparently. I can't see any others. Oh no, there's another one here. But I deliberately put these in close together so that I would get smaller leaves rather than the huge great leaves that a chard will give you if you give it full space. And the same with the kale. They'll give me small tender leaves, so I'll be fine. I don't eat a lot of kale, so I don't need a lot. And still cleaning up pots. It's a time-consuming job, but it's worth doing because you get fewer problems and you don't waste compost and seeds down to diseases. So it's worth doing.